Let's bring in Dakota Wood, CEO of Hot Gates Consultant, retired U.S. Marine Corps officer. Good to see you, Dakota, as always. Your thoughts on this vote and what it will mean for the Ukrainians?
Todd, thanks for having me on. It's going to mean everything to the Ukrainians. I mean, they've got the heart to fight, but if you don't have the ammunition and bullets and whatnot, what is valor? So, you're getting this money or the authorization to provide equipment equivalent to the funds that have been approved. It's just going to mean everything in their effort. But I think there's a cautionary note here, and that is in the last 6 months, while this package has been debated and delayed, Russia has been hardening its defenses. So it's not like conditions on the battlefield go back to where they were when the original aid package was being suggested. So I think we have to temper expectations as to what might be accomplished with the ammunition. But certainly, if they don't have the support, the outcome is going to be a loss for Ukraine and a loss for Europe and the United States as well.
Yeah, the total bill worth $95 billion, as we see on the screen. Some of that money going to Taiwan, some of that money going to Israel, some of that money going to humanitarian aid. But if we drill down for the $60 billion and change for the Ukrainians, I mean, you're talking about how they're very much on the back foot right now, defensive, trying to hold the line. The Russians are pressing the advantage. You know, you're formerly with the U.S. military. How quickly can the American military get those artillery shells, some of those air defense systems to the Ukrainians? Are we talking days? Are we talking weeks? Are we talking months?
No, I think it's days, and in some cases, maybe hours. You had implied that there's probably stuff forward positioned in Poland or in Germany. And so as soon as the authorization passes and the president signs that, you could have an airplane or a truck rolling down the road or landing at an airfield. On the backside here in the United States, they've been packaging these things, palletizing them, getting ready to move. The Pentagon has said they already know what they want to send. And so leaning forward into that, the people down through that complicated chain of supply are going to be readying these packages. So I don't think it's going to be weeks. I think you'll see the first munitions start to arrive in just a couple or 3 days, and it'll get ammunition, especially artillery rounds, into the hands of these crews that have been either reserving what limited ammunition they have or haven't been able to fire at all in response to Russian aggression because they were simply out of artillery munitions.
Yeah, we're showing some footage of Russia right now. You know, it's interesting too, Dakota, because we're hearing reports from the front lines that this has become a huge morale boost for the Ukrainian military. You know, they were waiting for months to see if this would happen, whether politics would derail it. Now this money is coming. It's just a matter of hours, and the military aid will follow. But if you're sitting in Moscow, if you're Vladimir Putin and you see this, I mean, the Russians are said to be outraged over this.
Yeah, well, anything that's going to damage their continued offensive, they're going to be angry about. I mean, even if they're winning, they would be angry. It seems to be the Russian way. But in terms of morale on the front lines, it was Clausewitz 2 centuries ago that wrote about the moral being the physical is 3-to-1. So when you get a small win, it really boosts the morale of the unit. When you get a resupply of ammunition or fuel, it really heartens you. So you're doing everything you can to push back against the enemy. But when you run out of food and fuel and bandages and ammunition, it just saps it. Why should you continue? Nobody cares about you. And so getting this approval, $60 billion, $61 billion, and all the munitions that implies, it really bucks up your courage. And it means that there is some hope instead of hopelessness, right?
Yeah, well said. Dakota Wood back with us today with his take, this $60 billion aid package coming down from the U.S. in a matter of hours. Hey, Dakota, good to see you. Thanks for this today.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, in a moment for